Hello everyone, this is Jimmy and welcome to episode 26 of Project Ozone 3. I would like to start by announcing that I am the proud owner of 739 capacitors. That is awesome. And the only reason we only have 739 is because this entire system that we set up yesterday wasn't running between episodes the entire time. Some of the materials that it uses were not fully automated, and then, we basically went through what we had and then it stopped. So stuff like, this Rhodochrosite, whatever it was, crystal, the the regular diamantine blocks, and the plastics are still some things we have to automate next. So let's get started right on that. Perhaps the most difficult of those is going to be the diamantine block, because that requires setting up the molecular transformer thingamajigger, whatever we call this thing, atomic transformer, atomic reconstructor. So if we're gonna set it up, we may as well set it up to do all of the, all the various blocks, right? So if we're gonna do it once, let's do it right. All right, and I think this should do it. So we have a interface providing the items into an open crate, which drops them onto that pressure plate you see there. The signal from the pressure plate is put through a NOT gate. This logic gate is configured as a NOT gate on A, which turns on the atomic reconstructor when there are items on the pressure plate. And then when it's done, the result gets sucked into this vacuum filter set to ignore metadata on these diamantine crystal blocks. So if we look at actually additions, that's how you spell actually. There we go. All the transform blocks have the same item ID, just a different metadata. And for now, since all I'm planning on doing are these various blocks, I think leaving it metadata independent is fine. There are some other blocks that transform or that can be made, like etheric quartz, etheric green quartz. But I guess I may as well add them to the filter now, right? We're not going to be doing the seeds with this. So if we look down here, if you want to use it to make empowered seeds, where are they? Or empowered oil? You can't. This method doesn't work because empowered canola oil shares a item ID, I think, with regular canola oil or with regular canola seeds. Wait, hold on. It's not empowered. It's the crystalline shares an ID with normal seeds. No, crystalline shares an ID with something that prevents this from working. I forget what it was, but whatever. That's neither here nor there. So let's test it out. I want to force you to craft, and my recipe is good. 1 stack makes 1 stack. So I expect it to drop the items there. Oh, right. Items don't activate stone pressure plates, do they? I need a wooden pressure plate. Do they? I thought they activated stone. They just didn't activate iron. Shows what I know about vanilla mechanics. And I broke the glass. Alright, let's put those back. And it should shoot. It should shoot. Yay! Wow, it took a long time to shoot. I wonder why. Maybe that's just how it works. Whatever. The result gets sucked into here, which gets put back into our ME system. So we should see that. Sorry about that. That our crafting job is now complete. Awesome. So let me patch this back up and hit a lag spike. I've been getting a lot of lag spikes recently, and I think our base is pretty laggy. Yeah, we're now below 30 FPS. I gotta do something about that. But anyways, this here takes care of the empowered blocks. Let's move on to the Rhodo whatever chlorite. So there's a couple ways to get Rhodochrosite. The one mentioned in the tooltip, you can, when you break redstone ore, you can get it, but we can't, just make redstone ore. So the way I'm going to go for that is the one in the pressurizer. We can basically turn the crushed version back into the uncrushed version, and the crushed version comes as a chance yield from granite through a rock crusher, and we can fortunately make granite using our mystical agriculture. Cool. So what I'm thinking we'll do is we'll set up a rock crusher that's always just crushing granite, and I don't care for these other materials, so I'll just let them fill a drawer and void when it's full. But the the crushed rhodochrosite will put it through a pressurizer to turn it back into the gem. And I wonder, is there any other use for the crush that we care about? Did we need this magnesium dioxide for anything? I guess we'll cross that street when we get there. So the rock crusher, pretty simple. Just a rock crusher with its upgrades supplied by export bus. I'm putting all the products into a drawer for now, where the sulfur and the Villiaumite are voided, when it's full, and the rhodochrosite, when it fills up, will just cause the machine to stop. And then all that's left is to make a, what's it called? Pressurizer. Bleh. Let's try that again. All we need is a pressurizer. The beauty of autocrafting. And our pressurizer turns the crushed into the gems, which is stored on a storage bus, which means we now see all of them in the network. Cool. So that takes care of that. And I think the only thing left then is our plastics. So the various colors of plastic, right? We need black for transistors and cyan for capacitors. So if you remember, we make plastics in the plastic mixer, and if you check the lock selection button and pick a color, it'll just keep making that color until the input, until the output slot is full. And if you can pipe out of this slot, but you cannot programmatically change the color of the plastic being made. If you want to change from black to cyan, I have to walk over here and click the button. Which means that for each color of plastic, we'll want one mixer dedicated to it. So for 16 total colors, we might not need every color. I think some of these colors of plastic have very few uses. Actually, do they have EMC values? They do not. Okay. Yeah, so despite the fact that some have very few uses, I think I'll still dedicate a mixer to them anyways. And then each mixer can, the mixers can feed into drawers, and then we can just have drawers full of all the plastic on hand. So 16 colors, 16 mixers. Thankfully enough, plastic mixers don't need any heat or air pressure. All they need is the fluid input in the form of liquid plastic and item input in the form of the various dyes. So I set up this first one, and all I have to do is copy its conduit settings and paste it into each of the other 16. Next, to store the actual plastic sheets, I'm thinking we'll just use drawers. And in this case, since I think keeping 8 stacks of each is sufficient, we can use these 2x2 drawers, these cute little mini drawers. So all we have to do is, I guess first I have to go into each one of these and set, the top left one will do black, just so I can keep it somewhat organized. Well, the pattern showed here, I'll match it with the pattern in world. And then we hook all the outputs together, and we have our all of our plastics. So if we look in our AE system, we now see we have all the colors of plastic readily accessible and available for autocrafting. Awesome. So let's see, how is this doing now? So this is just chugging along, still making all the various things. That's fine. So now that I believe we have every component in capacitors automated, let's start putting them to use. The first thing I want to do is make the switch over to fully digital storage. So right now, if you remember, our items are still stored in, a lot of our items are still stored in these crates, with a handful, with a lot of them stored in various drawer systems around. But I think it's time to retire our crate system. In order to do that, then, we're going to need a handful of ME drives, which look like they need advanced control circuits. Okay, that's fine. The only thing in advanced control circuits are enriched alloys, which take capacitors. But now that we have capacitors automated, it's fine to use a few of these. So we need ME drives, and we need storage cells. And I typically like to start at 64K. It holds, I don't exactly know how many items you get per byte, but it holds a lot of items. The limiting factor is usually types, especially because for any items that we have an extremely high number of, right, we tend to store them in drawers and not onto our storage cells. So I think 64K cells will do. Maybe if we can make like 20 of these and 2 ME drives, that should get us started. So to speed up our mechanism machines, if you remember, this infuser used to only have one slot. It did one at a time. Well, I've already advanced it to the basic tier. This takes this basic tier installer. Then we can go up to the advanced tier. Once we have the materials, elite tier, and there is a ultimate tier installer, although there are no ultimate tier machines. So I actually don't think this ever does anything. But anyways, at the basic tier, it has 3 slots. At the advanced tier, it unfortunately pops off the translocator each time. It has 5 slots, so we can do the same here. And yeah, once you have both the upgrades, speed upgrades and stuff, and the tiers upgraded, mechanism machines are also very fast. So just to show the potency of mechanism upgrades, here's our enriching factory, running 5 processes at a time, taking 250 joules a tick. I'm not quite sure what a joule is. There we go, 100 RF a tick. So I guess it's 2.5 joules to an RF. Anyways, let's start with the speed upgrades, because these are much more noticeable. So each speed upgrade increases the effect, which I think is just the rate. And I think full speed upgrades is around 10? I guess we'll find out once it gets there. Yeah, exactly 10x. But you'll notice the power consumption is now gone up to 10,000 RF a tick. So if you just use speed upgrades, this is a speed. It's, again, 10 times as fast, but it uses a lot of energy, right? When we start at 100, the energy cost has gone up 100 times. But if you put the energy upgrades in afterwards, I think this also is 10x. It divides the energy cost by 10, so the energy per operation remains unchanged, but the speed, wait, does it? No, the energy cost the energy cost per operation remains unchanged, and it's done. So let's get a few more diamonds so that we can see how that works. The energy cost per operation remains unchanged, but the total energy cost, but the power, energy per unit time still goes up by 10x. So anyways, now it's running 10 times as fast as it was before the upgrades, using effectively the same amount of energy. So compared to back before when we had a single one running and no upgrades, this is running 50 times faster. That's a significant upgrade. The only downside is these various upgrades. They each take more of these enriched alloys, which we really didn't have any of until now. Cool. So I almost forgot why we even built these machines. Oh, right, we need them to make, let's see, the ME drive uses this, which takes, I need to make a lot of basic control circuits and enriched alloys. For now, I'll just make these by hand. Later, I'll set up a machine to do that, to do it on demand. So with all of that, I think we can make our drives. Let's start with, let's say, 4. Oops, Z-Logic controllers. I think I already made a few of those, thankfully. I just have to pick them up. This machine. All right, let's try that again. 4 drives. Sweet. Ooh, that was fast. And 64K cells. I guess if we have 4 drives, we need 40 of these. Awesome, and that just went right off. So this will probably take it about a minute to craft, but it's nice that, wow, that took 300 capacitors. I'm glad we have those automated. But this should provide enough storage for basically the rest of the game, as long as we're careful not to, put like 1,000,000 cobblestone into it or whatever. So let's find a place to put this. I'm thinking we can just hide it away down here somewhere. Alright, we can just hide it away here where there's nothing else going on. And all 40 of our drives are done. So let's go ahead and shove all these into here. Next thing we have to do, which is the perhaps tedious part, is empty out the drawer, or all the crates that we have, and move their contents into here. Unfortunately, since they're on crates, you know what? Actually, I have a good idea. Let me finish putting these drives in, and then I'll show you my idea. Alright, so since right now all our items are stored on a subnet, I'm hoping that I can just put a import bus on the interface here. So replace this storage bus with a import bus, and I'm hoping that can actually just suck all the items in. And what I want though is, let's see, I want acceleration cards in here, And I want to make sure the items, well, let's see if anything's getting sucked out in the first place. I just want to make sure they're not getting transferred cyclically, though, because it, it could end up pulling the items out and putting them into another one of our drawers. But it looks like that isn't working. I think the issue is that while interfaces expose their entire inventory to storage buses, they don't expose their entire inventory to import buses. That's a shame. Second idea. So if you swap the interface of the storage bus such that the storage bus is on the subnet and the interface is on the mainnet, then what you can do is also replace each of these storage buses, let's see, where's my wrench, with a import, or we will want an export bus, I guess. No, we want an import bus, that's right. We want to import the items from the crate into the network, and that'll pull the items in and send them to this storage bus. So we see the items being pulled out, and well, for now, they'll be sent to the storage bus with the lowest priority. So let's set this to priority -1. And then when we replace all of these storage buses with import buses, it'll suck all our items out. All right, hear me out. I have another brilliant idea. So I thought about, what we just mentioned. I was like, wait, by the time I'm done setting that up, I could have just broken all the drawers and gotten the items. So I have an even better idea. I decided that we can make the magnet card. Very simple recipe. These are just blocks of iron, redstone, whatever. And configure it such that every item we pick up, so let's throw some items on the ground, will automatically get sucked into our AE system. Voila. So we see it's not in our inventory. And then all I have to do is break these crates, and I'm going to do one at a time just so that I don't crash from a sudden cascade of items. You see that all those items just get sucked into our AE system magically. And since these are all disconnected, I'm going to double check, but I'm pretty sure that they have to go into the drives. Let's see, drives. I don't know which one will fill first. Yeah, when you look at that, we already started to have items fill the drives from the crates that I'm breaking. So, you know what? I'm so confident that I'm going to vein mine these crates. I'm no longer so confident that that was a good idea. No, that wasn't bad. See, we didn't even crash. How nice. All right, so I'm going to clean this up a little bit. That was a very dangerous vein mine. If that was connected to that cable, that would have gone very poorly. All right, now that I'm done making questionable decisions, let's see what we can do next. So a quick check of our drives. We see that one set is completely full, and based on the fact that the drives are full on bytes, but only half full on, or full on types, but only half full on bytes, that means to me that they basically have very few items in them. They're I guess it's tough to see how many items are in them, but if the types are full, it takes up 50% of the drive, 50% of the bytes on the drive, I believe, just with if you have one item of every type. So, anyways, what that's telling me is that we aren't actually storing a large volume of items on these drives, just a large number of types. Which means if we need more drives, we can downgrade from 64K, probably even down to 4 or 60K drives, and they won't be full. But that's not really a problem because, remember, all the components that go into those drives are automated. And when things are automated, I don't really care about, there's no real cost to them, right? So let's consider where we can go next. So this might be a little bit premature, but I think we can start looking towards getting to space. That is with Galacticraft. So all these Galacticraft machines have, non-vanilla recipes, but I haven't looked through everything to see if I'll hit a roadblock yet, and honestly, I'd rather expect I will. But why don't we just get started and see how far we can go? And who knows, with any luck, maybe we can make it to the moon. So we start by making a circuit fabricator. One of the components that the circuit fabricator needs is flux electrum. While it itself is not that difficult to make, it's just, it's a number of steps, but the easiest step, or the easiest way, is always to use mystical agriculture. And that brings me to one of my, where'd that seed go? One of my minor complaints about the pack is that how do I turn this magnet card off? Is that at this point, come on, turn off. At this point, so much of our resource collection is mystical agriculture that there's kind of like it's highly repetitive. The process of setting up mystical agriculture seeds, and then once you have it, you just have an infinite amount of it. I don't know. Maybe it's not actually much of a complaint. It's just kind of boring to that all your resources come from the same place, and that it's this exact same process to get more of another resource. You make a small batch of it, and then you grow the crops to 10 10 10, and then you plant them. But along those lines, off camera, I've been doing a bunch more seeds of various types, stuff like Terrasteel. I mean, basically every resource we could use is here, and yeah, it's been a lot of planting. I guess my point is I'm sick of plants. Anyways, while these grow, let's take a quick detour and make some armor. So right now I'm just wearing the helmet that I got as a drop from one of the mobs, because it gives night vision. Night vision isn't all that important, but it's not even very great armor. However, we do have access to Terrasteel armor, which provides, I'm not quite sure what that icon next to the armor toughness is, but it provides better armor than diamond and has knockback resistance, and maybe that number is knockback resistance. Oh, that makes sense. All right, and the helmet can be enchanted with one of these wills. And the best part is it doesn't, we can directly make it from mana steel into Terrasteel. All it takes is a few runes. So let's craft us a set. All right, time to enchant our Terrasteel set. I'm not actually sure still protection 4. I like that. But it's also the lowest level enchant. Like, I don't care for Soulbound because I'm not intending on dying. Let's see what we got. Honestly, no clue how I should be doing enchanting in this pack. Whatever. Sure, we'll be very adverse to the occult. We don't really need unbreaking or anything on these. Well, specifically, we don't need unbreaking or mending because Terrasteel armor has an effect where if you have a ring of mana in your inventory, which I do, it gains a mending effect off the mana. So, anyways, you'll notice that I made a chest plate, but obviously I can't wear a chest plate while I'm also wearing my jetpack. So to fix that, I'm gonna make an angel ring, I think, for our flight. So the angel ring recipe has been changed to use spawn eggs instead of I think normally these are like lassos, but there's a couple ways to get spawn eggs, right? We can either enchant a weapon with capturing and get a very small chance to get it, or we can use like the DNA swab method. And I think that's a lot easier. So I'm going to go swab a ghast in the nether and a bat. Where do I spawn bats? I guess I can just build a dark platform somewhere and spawn a bat. So I forgot that you don't just start at the angel ring. You have to start at the chicken ring, work your way up. So first we need a chicken spawner. Seems a little cruel to kill a chicken to make it lay a chicken egg, but I'm a pretty cruel person. Anyways, that's our chicken egg. So the chicken ring doesn't do much. It lets you glide like a chicken, and only for a little while. The next tier ring, the squid ring, what does that take? A lassoed squid. All right, we can do that. It's a slight upgrade, but still not quite full flight. All right, so the ring of the flying squid. I think this allows you to kind of fly. I mean, I guess it's kind of like the really bad jetpack, kind of. As you see there's still that bar at the bottom that limits your like total flight duration. And I think you can still take fall damage while having it. Maybe not. It might cancel off fall damage. Huh, something I have is canceling fall damage. That's nice. Anyways, still not good enough. We're going to go all the way to the angel ring. You know how if you go looking for something, you're basically guaranteed to find everything except the thing you're looking for? Yeah, I haven't found a ghast yet. So I think we can do the alternate way of spawning a ghast. All it takes is a bucket of witch water and a squid. So you put your witch water down. Preferably don't step in it because it gives you 50,000 debuffs. And then put your squid in it, and the squid turns into a ghast. Why that works, I don't know. But then you can go swab your ghast and kill it. Cool. So anyways, I'm going to take this bucket of witch water back so it's not polluting our platform. And now we can sacrifice a few more chickens and make our angel ring. Sorry, chicken. I do love that animation. And I know I had one more walking around somewhere. Come on, chicken, where are you hiding? I made a chicken spawner just for these guys. Alright, so with that, we should be able to make our... I guess we can choose what wings we want. Give me the one without wings. Alright, angel ring, and then we can... I guess I'm out of ring slots. That's unfortunate. But even without our jetpack, we can still fly. Cool. I prefer the jetpack flight a little bit over the angel ring flight. I think it's it's a lot faster. And you can single tap spacebar to fly, whereas the angel ring you have to double tap spacebar to fly. But whatever. I'd rather have the full set bonus of the Terrasteel. So anyways, that was a detour. I don't know which ring I want to take off. I guess... Can I wear this in a non-ring slot? No. Can I wear this in a non-ring slot? No. Alright, I guess I just hold the angel ring in my inventory then, whatever. So, what was I getting at? Right, our seeds are now done. So let's go plant these in the farm and then we can continue on with our Galacticraft journey. Alright, next up is, I believe, Thorium oxide. So let's see. Thorium oxide... We need a fluid infuser with oxygen and thorium. And I've looked at this. I think quite a few fluid enricher recipes use oxygen. In fact, the majority of them, at least the ones that we'll be doing, use oxygen. Like, I don't know if we'll end up making oxide fuels. But anyways, I think we'll need to set up a dedicated oxygen fluid enricher. So let's do that. Now, there's two ways to get oxygen. We can either get oxygen gas from Galacticraft, which, let's see, electrolyzing water looks like the easiest way to get it. Yeah, and that has the side effect. We get some deuterium and hydrogen. Well, mostly deuterium. Is deuterium useful? If we don't need deuterium, nuclear craft fusion, I don't think I'm interested in this unless I have to. Super reactor, what is this? That's a lot of energy. But this looks a bit more late game than we're at. Anyways, the other oxygen we can get is liquid oxygen from Mechanism, which comes also from electrolytic separation of water. I like the Mechanism route, just because I'm comfortable with the Mechanism machines. So let's, I'll use the electrolytic separator to make water, the condensator to turn it into liquid, or to make oxygen, turn it into liquid oxygen, and then a fluid infuser to make our thorium oxide. Well, I probably didn't choose the best place to put these machines. I saw that I had some gap between like where I had machines, and I figured I could squeeze it in there. Turns out I couldn't. It kind of ran out of room at the end, but whatever. Fluid infuser with oxygen, and all we have to do is make the patterns. And now we can make our circuit fabricator. So the circuit fabricator is an interesting machine. It takes a lot of different inputs, up to 5 different inputs, and produces one output. And I think for now we'll be using it mostly to make these various wafers, which are components in the various Galacticraft machines coming up. But with the quest complete, let's just follow the quest chain. Next we need a compressor. So this is the really annoying Galacticraft compressor, and that takes HDPE, high density polyethylene. Alright, so this is always a project. We need HDPE pellets, which is oxygen plus... Okay. Let me work through this tree. I always remember HDPE is a pain to make a Mechanism because it takes like 30 different machines, but looks like it's time we did it. Alright, so it wasn't quite as bad as I remembered. Listen closely, I'm only going to say this once. The process is, you take, you take water, you put it through electrolytic separator to get oxygen and hydrogen. Then you take any plant and you put it through a crusher to get biofuel. Then you combine the hydrogen in step 1 with the biofuel in step 2 and water. Hey, this recipe to make substrate and ethylene. Then you take the ethylene from step 3 and I thought you had to, hold on. Ethylene. Right. You take the ethylene in step 3 and you put it through a rotary condensator to turn it into liquid ethylene. Then you take the liquid ethylene from step 4, combine it with the oxygen from step 1, and you make substrate. And the substrate from step, I don't even know what it was, 3 or something, and you get HDPE pellets. And then with that, you can either craft it or enrich it. The enriching is slightly more efficient into your sheets. So easy as that, right? Yeah, simple as that. That's all it takes. All you gotta do is connect it together, like I said, and it works. So anyways, this actually took quite a while for me to get working. So we start, as I mentioned, a crusher processes plants down. I'm choosing melons because they grow very quickly and make 4 at a time. That gets thrown into the PRC, which gets oxygen and water, hydrogen and water. Some of these machines are strictly sided, so like the electrolytic separator is strictly sided, which means it can only accept water input on one side and the outputs are fixed. So that made designing this a little bit harder. Likewise, the rotary condensator is also strictly sided. So next up I think I skipped a step. The PRC makes substrate and ethylene. Ethylene gets turned into the liquid form and combined in the PRC back with the substrate, and that gets us HDPE pellets. I could put speed upgrades in all these machines if I want them to be faster, but I think it's I think it's fine at the rate it's going at. We don't need quite that much HDPE, so I'll just slap a storage bus on this, and that'll complete our HDPE journey. Sweet. So now we should be able to make the compressor. Cool. And let's see. Making wafers. So I haven't tested it. I really hope it works. The wafer making machine is exceptionally slow. Wait, no, it's actually done. These items aren't being extracted. Oh, I hate Galactic Craft. I have a feeling that I have to extract the bottom of the circuit fabricator. This machine it only accepts energy on the side, and I suspect it only gives items out the bottom. Let me check the documentation. Indeed, the circuit fabricator only accepts or only gives output the bottom, so I just had to move some stuff around to make it work. So that should make our compressor. Now the basic compressor, made 2 of them for some reason. Did I ask for 2? The basic compressor is extremely slow, but it also is, I think, coal-fired. But there is an electric compressor, and I see no reason we can't upgrade our basic compressor to an electric compressor. I guess we have to make a couple pieces of compressed steel first. But I noticed something else. In this pack, most of these compressed plate recipes actually have another recipe in this laser cutter multi-block. So at some point I should look into seeing if we can switch our compressed plates over to this, because Jesus, I really hate how slow the compressors are in Galacticraft. So we need 2 steel plates, I believe, to make the advanced compressor. So I have to make that in the basic compressor, and yeah, this is how long it takes. We're talking like 10 seconds for a single plate. So with any luck, we can now make the advanced compressor, hopefully. Alright, 1 electric compressor. Coming right up. And I wonder if that was actually a quest. Hey, it is. Alright, so what's next? We can collect oxygen to fill our oxygen tanks, and a refinery to make fuel. Alright, that doesn't look bad. And oxygen. That doesn't look too bad either. We have to really get our compressor working. But all right. Anyways, once we get that advanced compressor, though, I think or the electric compressor, let's wrap up this episode for now. We got, a lot of new equipment and good infrastructure in the form of digital storage done today, so I'm happy. And real quick, let's check to make sure everything here is still running, which I think it is. Perfect. Cool. So next time we'll come back and hopefully make our way to the moon. Although, again, there very well may be roadblocks that prevent that. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope to see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.